Well, getting up many areas now, closing in on a foot of snow and more than likely picking up an additional 12 or more during the overnight hours. Of course, the winds have been a big factor the last several hours. They continue to get strong. In fact, let me show you a look back on Newport. Starting back at 3 o'clock this afternoon when the wind was gusting at a mere 25. These are wind gusts. And then notice as the storm got stronger and started to draw closer to our coastline around 6, 7 o'clock this evening, these wind gusts really started to ramp up to 56, 54 miles per hour in Newport. We've seen other locations, though, with higher gusts. So this is the reason why in the last couple of hours, the power outages has really gone up, combined with the heavy snow, and why we're getting limbs and power lines that have been coming down. Moderate snow continues to fall across the area right now. The shades of blue indicate precipitation type, which is snow. This incredible, what we call a mesoband, this narrow strip of blue, which has been out across eastern Connecticut now for several hours, dumping copious amounts of rain. You could almost compare this to, in the summertime, a squall line of thunderstorms where you get just a tremendous amount of rain. They're getting a tremendous amount of snow in this narrow band. And TJ and I, we're really watching this very closely because we feel as though some of these more intense bands, even though the snow's been pretty strong so far, some of these intense bands are going to try to rotate through during the overnight, where you could easily, if this were to stick around for say a 3-hour period, you could easily pick up 9, 10 inches of snow in 3 hours. And that's why we continue to with the high snowfall forecast for the overnight. Many locations now getting up to a foot or more, with West Greenwich leading the pack at 13 inches. In fact, over a foot now in West Warwick as those numbers continue to go up. Visibility is poor. Downtown Providence, the snow blowing sideways. And these sustained winds have been very impressive. New Bedford now 32 degrees with a sustained wind now at 29 miles per hour. I know for a fact the moon's not out. It's snowing hard in New Bedford, unfortunately. And here in Providence, the temperature just slipped to from 32 to 30. So now that the winds are more northerly, it's going to draw in even colder air. It's going to cause this wet and sticky snow to be more dry and fluffy, so it's going to blow around more readily on the roads, unfortunately, and start to drift as well as these temperatures continue to drop off. As we widen out the view, storm now slowing down, and as a result, the precipitation sticks around longer as the storm system itself is offshore, far enough offshore so that it's mainly a snow situation with the air being cold enough. You know, initially yesterday there was some gray area as to whether or not the coast would mix with a little bit of sleet or rain. Not the case, so even the coastline will stay as an all-snow situation as these heavier bands of snow continue throughout the evening hours and overnight, as these final accumulations by probably late morning up until noontime tomorrow on the order of 10 to 18, 15 to 24 inches a little further north. And because of that heavier intense snow band that has been out towards eastern Connecticut, still anticipating amounts to be at least up to 24 inches in our northern suburbs. And whether or not those bands stick around even longer than anticipated is the reason why we have an isolated 30-inch amount in the forecast. Certainly the low end of these accumulation forecasts are certainly verifying 10, 15, and eventually 24. But we feel as though some areas will have higher snowfall totals. Futurecast starts off this evening. All these colors represent precipitation type. The blue is snow. The darker blue is very heavy snow. And you can see that overhead right now. And we talked about these narrow strips of blue. There's one, what we call the mesoband. There's another one overhead at 3 o'clock in the morning with intense snow. Move ahead to 9 o'clock in the morning. There's another narrow band. So a very unique kind of a situation on the radar where you get these narrow strips of heavy snow coming through every couple of hours. And this is why we'll still forecast the heavy snow overnight. 2 o'clock in the afternoon, most of it's gone. We start to clear out, and then by tomorrow evening, skies will be clear. But even in the afternoon, when the snow lets up to just snow showers and flurries, Susan, the wind will still be strong. So with the trees and power lines still loaded with snow, even though the snow may stop, the wind is still strong. So we'll have to keep an eye on additional limbs and power lines coming down even into tomorrow afternoon, Susan.